Hello people and welcome. So I found this video. It says something wrong with people right now by the channel called the Introvert Circle. I don't know if you here I can show you, I guess. Boom. Okay, so it's right here. You see it? So yeah, this channel called the Introvert Circle, and the title is Something is Wrong with People Right Now. I'm intrigued by this video. It seems to be popping. It's getting a lot more views than the channel sub. So I've no idea what is this, but it seems interesting. So let's just head into it, right? All right, just before we start, let's just fix this up really quick. Here, let's get this here. Let's get this there. All right, seems good enough.
Guys, hope you're doing well today. Pull up a chair. You know, today I wanted to pull some things out of my mind and just put them out there to you all, see if you're feeling the same things, because last week I went to a social event and the rudeness and the weirdness that I experienced last week, it was on another level. So
He has an interesting accent. I kind of like it. I also kind of wonder what kind of social event did he go to?
people were just acting weird. And I've
What
noticed that
weird?
this
What kind of weird?
mistrust that I've been kind of feeling coming on for years, it's hit an all new high recently. And I think that this is different than what I've experienced in the past. And I actually think people are afraid right now. You hear people saying, that there's been some kind of shift just recently. And I've got to tell you that I think there has been some kind of shift. And I don't particularly like to admit it right now, but I feel fear right now. And that's a strong word, but
I hate to pause this really quick, but I just kind of wonder, is he talking about the political situation in America? Because yes, there has been a shift. The government is just becoming outwardly occupied. It's kind of shedding the facade of being an American government. So if he's talking about that, then this is very understandable. If he's talking about something else, then I want to see what he's talking about.
trust me when I say, I don't want to overreact or anything. And I still feel like things can work out, but there's this feeling in the air, and it took on a whole new thing recently. And I think it's just been a major, major shift. And it's weird because you look up at the sky, you look at everything, maybe your apartment or your house, wherever you live, everything looks the same. But deep down,
I like his accent.
you know something out there is very wrong in the world. And it makes you start to believe in like energy and aura and all that stuff, because if you're like me, you're picking up a lot of weird vibration right now. And the only way I can explain it is when you're having like a really realistic dream, but you know deep down that what you're seeing is not real. You know it's a dream, but it's so realistic. And I just feel like my life feels like that right now. And I was wondering the other day, I'm like, is that shock? Is that what shock feels like? Because I know when I had my motorcycle wreck, I got tossed into the ditch. And when I got up, I was like checking to make sure all my limbs were still attached. And I remember the world having this same kind of detached look, like it's not real. I think that's shock. And right now, I've got a hint of that just walking around the house, just going out. And it's especially when I get around people, it's like it's enhanced or something. And I just think there's this underlying current of anger and dissatisfaction right now. And I think it's flowing through our country, the United States. And I think from what I'm hearing, it's also worldwide. And I guess it's some kind.
Well, it is worldwide, but in all honesty, it is. Uh, it has a no. It's starting from the West. I actually want to speak about why this is going on. So part of the thing, you see, so if you're an American, I don't know if you've heard ever, but Americans are perceived as jerks outside. Why is that? Because we have been cut socially and morally from the rest of the world. So we are becoming, how do you say it? Like, if somebody lived by themselves for such a long time and they start to become weird, and they start to like have some weird ideas and stuff like that, this is how Americans are now. So that they're so isolated from the rest of the world and from themselves and from, but especially from the rest of the world, that they're living in a weird sort of like thing going on in their minds. So he is correct about that. And, I can explain it in a deeper way even.
Kind of uncertainty, some kind of dread. It's like,
It's not some kind of dread. It's an absolute dread that we feel every day. If you didn't know, I just made a video about like an hour ago or so, just talking about the dread of being a slave wage. We're being stretched real thin.
a feeling of some kind of anticipation, like what's going to happen, you know? And I think part of it is that you don't know what kind of news that you might get at any minute. So it feels like my heart is always beating harder than normal. And I think I had an anxiety attack the other night because I started like having
All right.
shortness of breath in the middle of the night. And when I got relaxed, everything was okay. But I think I understand a lot more about anxiety now because I think there's this constant state of stress, this constant low level adrenaline. And I keep trying to get it to calm down. It's like I'm having to battle it all the time. And I just feel like it really feels like right now in the world that your life could totally be changed at any second. And you could find out about it at any second. And because of that, it's like when I look at my phone, when I turn on the TV, I watch YouTube on the TV, that's become like a source of stress. Like what's going to be in my recommended videos. And it's like I'm afraid to look or something.
He's so
And
cute.
it's just this overall stress level that's just too high to deal with.
Like it feels like he just became an adult somehow. Like, he's been a kid and just suddenly became an adult. Because if you don't know, it's been always that way. Life is an absolute hell. It's been always that way. It's going to continue being that way. If you don't know, or if it's not hell for you, you're either extremely lucky, you're a kid, you're a sheltered woman. You know, so yeah.
And I'm going to try to explain what it feels like to me. So it feels like I'm
All right.
carrying a weight around on my back, and it's a weight that used to not be there. And so being around people right now feels kind of like it's increasing that weight and the worry. And sometimes I think, well, that's what
Interesting.
getting older feels like. You know, you feel
Maybe.
like more things can happen. The people around you are older, so you tend to have more fear. But I don't think that's true. I think that this is
More
a
than that.
lot bigger and it's on a worldwide scale. And I think everybody,
Just before that we continue, I want to see what the comments say. Uh, the veil is thinning. The veil of worldwide corruption is lifting. There is a predominant oppressive undertone of spiritual rot and decay. I have been literally speaking about that. Just I reacted to this Nico and Clav and Nick Fuentes video. You can check it out in my channel, and I felt it. And I almost like I don't want to just react to more like. Look, I liked Sneeko when he was a little bit, he was cleansing up, but he is going back into that degeneracy, and it's like it's not good. It's just not, and I don't want to be involved. Honestly, I would prefer to not be involved, or at least if I watch anything like that, I would want to keep a spiritual distance. But all right, so everybody's sort of on the same page. It seems like.
is feeling what I'm feeling. So that's another reason that I don't think it's just me. And I want you to stay till the end because I want to talk about why I think this might be, why I think that this might be happening. but I also want to hear
Yeah.
what you think is going on because
I personally think here, I'm sorry, this window thing. I personally think it has been an accumulation of like just so many years of gradually increasing the gap between the rich and the poor, and the increasing of the rotten of a spiritual, like spiritual rotten. So it's more, so the and this is coming especially out of the West. So they're becoming more degenerate, more greedy, more power hungry, rich becoming richer, poor becoming poorer. All of these are sign of the end of something. It's sort of like if you have a sort of a mold on an orange or an apple, right? So right before everything, so this mold, it has a peak where it's covering everything, and it reaches a point where you know there is no space for the mold to survive. So it's becoming sort of like that, like the rich people are exploiting every little last detail of life, just stripping humanity and life dry, leaving no spiritual. But this is not. I wouldn't say it's even all around the world. It's starting from the West and certain major cities, and it's spreading out to everywhere else. So that's what I noticed.
these times are really tough. I think that I have this longing to go back to a better time, and I can't seem to shake that off. I keep longing for the
All right.
past. And I was watching these videos that were showing kids from the 1990s walking around in high schools, like a graduation video. Nobody had any cell phones. Things looked so much easier. It looked like they were actually caring about what was happening in that moment and that they weren't lugging around the world's problems in their pocket in the form of a phone, really. And I can't help but associate the way that the world is heading with all of this instant news and all this technology.
True. Yeah.
And it does. It leaves me wanting to go back to the world that I used to know, back to the world that I grew up in. But coming back to right now, I keep hoping things are going to get better every day. And they just keep not getting better. They just keep, in a
No,
way,
no, no.
getting worse. And day after day, month after month, things are just not improving. And I agree that it's been happening for years.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
been happening and
It
coming
is.
on for decades, but it
True.
seems like it's accelerating.
It is.
And I need a way to release this stress. And I'm trying different things like deep breathing and various things, but I can't find a way to get rid of it. And I just feel really alone. And I want everybody to just care about each other again, you know? But it seems like everybody is dead set on doing bad things to each other, on being aggressive towards one another right now, and really on causing trouble in the world right now. It feels like
You know, I hope that what he says help, but I have a feeling that it does not help, because how the world works is if you tell them stop, they're not gonna stop. People have needs that need to be met. You see, the purpose of civilization is to organize the jungle. You see, the the way how the world works. The s- all the carnivores eat the herbivores, and all of these things. So the world is a jungle. It is a survival for the fittest, right? In a civilization, you're supposed to transcend that and organize things in a humane way. But what has been happening is that it turned out that the Western civilization is not a real civilization. It's still in an advanced version of the jungle that it came from, which is what is causing all of this.
sometimes that I'm the only sane person in the whole world. And I'm kind of yelling out to everybody, this isn't going to end well. This is a bad idea. That's not good. Don't do that. But it just
Everybody
keeps
knows.
happening. And I want
The thing is, everybody knows. It's just like, here, I will tell you exactly why people do that. Because you see, here, so you're right now maybe watching this on your phone, right? And you could say, "Oh, I want the world to become better," but you see, your phone is made from people who are child laborers, right? So if you don't want this to keep on, you gotta be, you gotta not have this phone. You gotta not buy a phone. Why? Because these is from child labor. It's from evil, right? All of the things that we're living in is from evil. We're living on evil. We're living on degeneracy. We're living on spiritual decay. Most of what we own and do and get, right? So you'd be like, okay, I can't because I need that for my job, to live in this time. And so this is the reason why, because we have entrenched ourselves into the system that to root it out it would massively affect all of our livelihood. We would not be able to have the phones, the technology, and countries would fall down. Societies would collapse. A lot of people are going to die if we try to uproot this. This is why. This is why nobody can do anything about it because can you do anything about it? Can you not own any of the technology? Can you not make money to survive? Or will you gladly die in order for this to happen? I don't think most 99.99% of the people are not ready to take this step, which I don't blame them for, but I'm just explaining it.
I wanted to reach out to you guys because no matter how much I say it, it seems like nobody is listening in the world, and we keep dividing ourselves and instead of coming together and being grateful for what we have. And so I wanted to reach out to you guys because I'm hoping some of you all out there will understand. And this is not about politics.
Also, he's been really vague. Like, I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. I mean, what he says is most of it is true. His solutions are seems to be misguided a little bit, or I mean, and I don't blame him. He's just a guy trying to talk his mind. But yeah, it's like he's being really like I'm not really exactly sure what he's talking about. Is he? I don't know. It's just weird. Like, what is he even talking about?
As we see politics right now, this is about, like, I guess you'd call it basic human dignity, basic human morals,
Mm-hmm.
that love is better than hate and that kindness is better than aggression.
Right.
And it seems like that's in jeopardy or something. Like we're not sure that that's
We've been ruled by people for so long time that don't believe in this. The society teaches you that if you believe in this, you go down. To go up in the social ladder, to go up in the corporate ladder, to go up in any ladder, you gotta be cutthroat. You know, it's been seeping into every family. It's been seeping into every family through through the divorce rates, through all the relationship between mother and son and father and daughter and husband and wife and girlfriend and boyfriend. It's been seeping since forever, and we've been trained on it over and over. You be nice at work, you get to get more work. You don't get rewarded for being a faithful, good person. You get punished for it, and you get rewarded for taking advantage of the system. So all backwards. Been like that for such a long time. So this is not a surprise. It's just it feels like some people they have been out of touch with it, and then just suddenly are seeing the consequences of this thing, and now they're like, oh, what the heck? Like with the ICE incident thing, right? A lot of people were justifying that. I'm not saying. See, this is my opinion about the ICE incident, and I talked about it. That lady, Renee, right? She should not have done what she did. She should have just stayed in her car, didn't act, just stayed respectful. That's what she should have done, right? But she tried to drive away, and the guy shot her in the face. Shot her in the face. He shouldn't have done that. And so people cheered that on, cheered taking of an innocent life. And they know well, all of them know that she was not going to kill him or run him over. She was driving the other way. Everybody knows that. And it's a snowy day. It's not going fast or anything. And he was getting out of the way anyways. And shooting her didn't have any effect. Okay. So people are defending literal murder, you know. So that tells you, if you are talking with anybody who is justifying that, you got to let them know this is not a left-right issue. This is an issue of morality, that murder is not justified, especially under this sort of circumstance. This is not self-defense, and the person usually knows that, but they're so much deep into this sort of like, yeah, like this sort of pleasure into your own team winning. Your people are they're becoming degenerates at a very fast scale, at a very big scale. They're becoming more and more degenerate. Even the people who say that they're Christian, people who read the Bible, they're usually one of the most degenerates. They just don't know it. They say, "Oh, we're against the LGBTQ and all of this degeneracy," while they enjoy murder. Why? Because their guy got murdered. Well, two wrongs don't make a right, and they should be out of all people know this, since they love Jesus so much. I'm sorry for going on a long rant. I'll just get back to it.
What is true anymore. And it's not complicated. It's about humanity and it's about our future. It's about the kids' future, the grandkids' future. And I'm just tired of the distrust that's everywhere. And I'm tired of us all being split apart. I'm tired of feeling that distrust when I go out in public. I'm tired of other people wanting to change other people into what they want them to be, and they think they have the right to do that. And I even go in simple places like the grocery store, and I've talked about that. It's really stressful because it seems like people don't say hi anymore. I mean, sure, people do every now and then, but it's like a weird thing when somebody will say hi back to you. It seems like nobody trusts anybody. It seems like it's getting worse. They just glare at you, walk straight by you. I nod at them, and they're just glaring, walk straight by me.
That is true, yeah.
And I'm still trying, though.
That's terrible.
I'm still trying to be nice. I'm the one that gets out of the way when they're coming at me with a cart. I will open the door for them. I try to be a bigger person. I'm trying to show love through all this. But I said before, I found myself wearing sunglasses in the store just so I don't have to deal with it. But I'm still always on the lookout so I can show a good side to people if they acknowledge me. But anyway, the way I would explain the world that we're living in right now is one word: exhausting. And it's an exhausting time. And it's exhausting because of the way that humans have started interacting now. It's exhausting because of the news that we get bombarded with now. And it's exhausting because we always seem to be on the verge of some kind of catastrophe. And we know that it's not like the past. When catastrophes hit now worldwide, there's a lot of problems that can occur. And I wish I was imagining this stuff. I wish I could blame it on, that I'm getting older, or that I have an anxiety problem. But I'm not imagining it. It's real, and I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like a nightmare, and I try to distract myself, but then I come back around to it. And I think this is one of the times in life when being a thinker is actually really bad for your health. You're actually better off to be a shallow person right now, unfortunately.
I actually want to make a video about it. It's just that I don't have it in me because I'm low on dopamine all the time. I don't have the enough dopamine to be encouraged, and nobody's interacting with me, so I don't have the enough energy to make such. But I could explain in detail why thinking and higher IQ is actually bad for you these days. But yeah, maybe in the future when I get enough dopamine.
Definitely. And friendship, I think about that sometimes, and I think back, and it's not like it used to be. It's almost the same thing of the past because, again, I'm older, can blame it on that, but sometimes I long for that past when I had friends who didn't care about politics or groups or what other people were doing with their lives. And we just cared about a video game or what we were going to go get when we went out to eat. And I remember simple things. You know, I remember my best friend, we used to go, he's passed away now, unfortunately,
Oh,
but we used to plan that we would go drive
rest
an
in peace.
hour to Orion's, you know, a buffet.
Okay.
And it was an event. We were like, we're going to go to Ryan's. And we would drive an hour to get there. And that was the thing of the day. That was the stress of the day.
Let's
We're
go.
going to go, what are we going to eat at Ryan's? And so I miss that. And I know that right now I made this channel because I don't relate to a lot of people because I want a simple life. I don't want all this competitive power stuff that we see everywhere
Never
up the
gonna happen.
chain. You know,
The thing is, it's always been that way. It's just, it's just that with this technology, they could compete even more and more on your stuff, you see. So when we didn't have phones, it's not only that we had a simpler time, we were not spied on in to the same extent. You see that? When we didn't have phones, companies didn't have as much control over us as they do now, you know? So you gotta all have all of that in mind. It's been always about competition. This the system in the West have been set on a path of self destruction, of sucking every resource dry, including the human spirit.
know, and it's being put right in our faces, even if we want a simple life.
Yeah,
And I think groups, you know, I think groups are fine. Groups of people are fine. They all, but everybody should be welcome in those groups. There shouldn't be hate in those groups.
you don't
So
say.
what happens, I guess, is I end up talking to almost no one right now. I talk to my mom. I talk to you all. And I've got to say that it is lonely. And it's a
It's
strange
pretty lonely.
feeling
Yeah.
because even though I'm an introvert, I still want to belong to like planet Earth.
Introversion is not a thing. As I explained in a different video, being an introvert is like sort of being fat. It is that your social muscle is not strong enough. It is not a thing that is fine. You know, it's not like being tall or short. It's more like being fat versus being healthy fit. You know, being an introvert is not a natural thing. It means that your social muscle is weak. That's what that means. And when you try to get content with it, you kind of can't because you're gonna feel lonely. It's just it's bound to happen. So please don't be introverted. When you find yourself introverted, if you're in a situation where you have to be, then you do your best with that. But if you get a chance to interact with people, take it. If you get a chance to travel and meet new people, take it, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. It's sort of like going to the gym. It hurts because you have not been lifting weights. That's why it hurts. This is the same thing. You know, it might hurt to socialize, and you do it in moderation. You don't need to like shock yourself or like just to have too much interaction. No, you can gradually lean into it. Keep as much socialization as you can. This is the best you can do.
I want to belong to society in some way and have some kind of part in it.
Right.
But it feels like we're on the verge of all becoming robots, of all being filled
Yeah.
with anger. And if you're not like that, you're not part of any group.
All right.
Everybody's glued to their phones. They're being told what to think. And it's not good things that they're being told to think. They're being told who to accept, who not to accept. They're being told to believe what those people around them believe, or that they're going to be banished from the tribe,
Yeah.
whatever tribe they're in.
Right.
And I saw a comment that said, social media has made us anything but social. And I think
Yeah.
that that's true. That really stuck with me. Social media has started to have a negative effect because people are starting to use it for negative things. It's all becoming about echo chambers. It's where people who all think the same way get together and then they reinforce what they already believe anyway and get all hyped up off each other. They think, who cares if this is right? Who cares if this is wrong? At least I'm in a group. They engage in, that kind of thought. And it's some kind of dystopian thing that's taking place here. And I noticed something back in 2020 when we were quarantined. And what I noticed back then was that I felt peace. And it felt good back then to be in quarantine sometimes, even though I was afraid of what was going on in the world. But as an introvert, it felt like a peace. But now the world is crazier than ever. So I'm almost longing for that time to go back into some kind of quarantine and to get away from this constant rudeness and anger. And I've kept running, with that quarantine lifestyle as much as I can. But we do have to get out as humans from time to time. If you work, you have to go work, you have to go to the store. And so I think that the biggest problem here is that people have outsourced their thinking to people who don't have their best interests in mind. So we think about the
Yeah.
media. We think about politicians. We think about
The thing is, I'll be honest with you, this is mostly boomers. This is not mostly people who are younger people. It's he's speaking about as if this is a phenomenon that started now. It actually started about 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's mostly the boomers who just, they're hell bent on watching Fox News and crap like that. Even CNN, cable TV in general. Social media is a good thing if you use it in a correct way. Don't be stuck on Reddit so I don't have X. I barely have Instagram. I watch a lot of YouTube. TikTok, I have never used it. I don't want to use it, right? So if you use YouTube is one of the best social platforms. You can learn a lot, especially if you don't watch those short videos. If you watch the long form ones, it can be informative. It could be good for you. You know, um, but yeah.
whatever event is going on in the world at the moment to get everybody stirred up. And I think that's a big problem. And I want to talk next, I think, about real connection versus shallow connection.
Okay.
And as an introvert, I personally like deep talks. I don't like shallow talks. So that's a problem in today's world because most of those deep talks and the people who can engage in those deep talks, they're gone. And if you talk for just a minute about something like what we're talking about, I mean, even if you just touch on the topic, then somebody's going to get offended because maybe you said something.
Like I feel so I don't feel this is deep enough. This is way too vague for me. Like I want him to be more straightforward. He is striking me as a really sensitive guy. He seems to be more in touch with his feminine side, which it's alright. It is his thing. But yeah, no, like I prefer more straightforward. Like I want to understand what you're talking about. So, this is posing a communication issue for me, like trying to understand exactly what he's talking about. I don't feel offended at all. I'm very hard to offend.
Against what they believe or whatever, and they're not willing to be open minded in the least. So most of the time, I just figure that I'm not going to talk at all. I'm just going to stay to myself.
Fair enough.
And I think that all this leads to people being disheartened. They don't have hope. These people, almost everybody in the world, were afraid. And we don't even really know what's going on because we
Mostly the
really
West.
don't know who or what to believe anymore. And I think
I'll tell you what to believe. Zionists are in control of the freaking West. Okay? The mass I've been tired of talking about it. I check my daily dose of noticing. It's been going like that. At least, look, if we're all gonna pass away, at least we have helped do the right thing. Okay, At least that our lives might be worth something. At least that even if we're not remembered by names, we would leave a good impact on humanity and on this earth by talking truth, by conveying the suffering of the victims of this wretched Zio empire that is built on greed and exploitation and pitting people against each other and all kind of crap.
I think all of those things are a big part of this. And I think that a lot of people were told that certain lives were possible. I was talking about the American dream in another video, and I think people are starting to see this is not working out. This is not working out like I was told it was going to work out. But still, people out there keep believing in all these promises told to them by the powerful people of the world. And I think back and I think, maybe people were always like this. And history does suggest that people were always like this. There are always rises and falls of societies, of empires, really. But I ask you this. This is a question I wanted to ask you. Did you think you would be a part of a time like you read about in all the history books, like right now?
This is so funny because I didn't think I would be alive until now. Look, I got into a stage of my life where I have been suicidal for so many years. Every day I wouldn't want to wake up a day after. And until now, I'm somewhat like that. So I didn't even know I would be alive until now, let alone that I'm having this job or being in this career or watching this guy or making this video or being anything, being in even this place that I am in the physical location of this country and all the people that I know, the people who passed away. Like I didn't expect any of this. So why would I like this is too much, like I don't know. So yeah, I had no specific expectations after that. I had zero expectations about what is what. So I didn't think about it, and I'm not thinking about it as much. I'm thinking about it in a sense that I can navigate through life with what's going on, but I'm not like it's we cannot expect what's gonna happen. We can only try to navigate what we understand and what we know now.
I did not believe that I would ever be a part of that. I read that like it was a past story, and I was
All
glad.
right.
Oh, that's not happening. But I'm not so sure now. And
Well,
I know that there
you might be in for a big surprise. I have had an Egyptian neighbor who told me an Egyptian saying, it says what you fear is coming to you. So, like it had a double meaning. The one meaning is don't be afraid so that it doesn't come to you. And then the second thing that it's like, it's not worth it to be afraid of anything because it's already coming to you, though it don't matter. So in both cases, you have to expect things that you are afraid of that they're coming to you. So what are you gonna do about it? Basically nothing. I mean, you do your best. That's just what you do.
were always people doing nefarious things, behind the scenes, under the table and all that. But now, more than ever, I think these people
It's
have
been over the table.
permission to behave the way they're behaving
Over the table.
right out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like nobody cares, and it seems like nobody with any power will stand up and say, that's enough.
Yep.
And we're in a dangerous place.
Yep.
I would just like to say, I think we're in a dangerous place. How we got here, that's up to you to decide. Because I'm not 100% sure. I think it's been going on a long time.
It's been a gradual. It's like a slippery slope. We've been falling, 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 and then now it's like, oh my gosh, we fell falling a long side ago. Well, yeah, and in the act of falling, it's harder to like even stop. So it's hard to even stop, let alone to go back because you're on a cliff. You are on a slope. It's a slippery slope, and you're sliding to the bottom, right? This is what's going on now. So yeah, it's very hard to actually stop, let alone to go backward, you know. But if we want to do anything like that, we would have to all agree, you know, that what's going on in Palestine is bad. We have to agree on that. We have to agree that murder where it's not needed is unnecessary. It's is bad. We have to all agree on these sort of things. Afterwards, we can work on how to be free from those people who control all of these things somehow, somewhat, and then after that we have, so you know, by that point we could say that we have slowed down the fall, slowed it down by really a lot. Then after that we need to have some serious talk, serious discussions about how can we move forward.
But I do still feel we should not lose hope. And as it said, there's many a slip twixt a cup and a lip. So things can
What?
change for the better.
What?
And I believe that
You said many that could slip go into the lip? What? I didn't get that.
they can change very quickly for the
Yeah.
better. But I'd like
No,
to
no.
hear now how
Like it cannot change quickly for the better. It can change quickly for the worse. As I do explained, we're like falling on a slope. You know, we are just you know. So it's very hard. It's never gonna, like, you're not gonna go back quickly. The best you can do is slow down. You know, it would be a miracle if you could stop before reaching the bottom. So don't count on it.
you're feeling about things recently. And I'd like to hear if I'm overreacting, if you think I'm overreacting, whatever you
So what I think is that he's not like, so he's overreacting, but only a little bit. You see, so from the scale of 1 to 10, he's overreacting by maybe 3 or 4. You know, so he's not exactly so much overreacting. It's that we still have about maybe 5 to 10 years. You know, so and that's max. You know, it could happen even before that. It could happen within this year or the next year. So, you know, but at the same time, you know, I would say just try to stay safe. You know, be the good, you know, do the good thing. You know, do your own research. As he said, don't be hateful. And so, if you're living in a community where it's using hate, just don't be there. You know what I'm saying? That's the least you can do. And otherwise, I think things for the most part are gonna be alright. It's gonna get worse, but not the kind of worse where everybody dies like that, you know, especially if you don't participate in the evil, you know, as much as you can. Obviously, you cannot do that perfectly, but so that's my take.
believe. I want to hear it down in the comments because if you listen this long, you're somebody that definitely can talk deep with me. And I just want to thank you for pulling up a chair with me today. And if you want
I don't know if this counts, but if it does, then you are welcome.
to know why I avoid people now, then you can check out this video next.
I'm too tired, so I apologize. But yeah, so this was my reaction and commentary on this in this video. It's been popping all over, so it's pretty interesting. Um, let's read more of the comments. To me, everything feels fake, and I have a feeling that everything is about to end. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. It is hard to be awake in a world where the majority of people are asleep. Evil is surrounding us. We're being smothered in it. Yeah, mate, I'm in Australia, and it's all over the world. We're just see. It's not. I mean, it's gradual. So it's in the West. He's in Australia, so he's feeling it. But he probably would feel this coming out of the U.S. But Australia is part of the West. You know, what's going to happen is a fall of the West and everything that is latching onto it. That's what's gonna happen. I'm just hoping it happens, you know, after I have prepared my exit. We're just realizing that governments are all around the world are corrupt and we have been lied to about everything. but the truth is coming out, and we will continue until everything is revealed. Yep. Kind of wonder because of social media, people are becoming more negative and narcissistic. That gives a flow of frequency vibration on a massive scale, and we sense that negative energy. Original commentary was spot on. What you're talking about is the effect, yes, but it's the agenda of globalist elites who are lowering down this low frequency new ageism that you're talking about. Huh. Interesting. Yes, it is like this in the UK too. See, it's mostly in the West. I have not seen anybody saying, "Oh, I feel like this from Indonesia." It's the West. I'm telling you, the West is falling down, but not to its last fall. It's the one before last, probably. Yes, it is like this in the UK. May I suggest we fight back with grace and good manners. Every smile, good morning, please, and thank you matter. That is true. I love that. Every act of kindness and compliment matters. Totally agree. No, this is from the heart. This is it's totally true. I dread going to work. Oh my gosh, I just made a video about it. Going to work because I think working itself sucks, but because I have to be around people who drain me for an extended period of time. Let's see what people said about it. It was the same for me until I quit. I wasn't the endless tasks or even customers, but my own coworkers. Oh my god, I feel bad for them. It sucks massively. It's just a pit of hell to work these days, and I work in corporate, so just imagine that. Like what? Me working in corporate? I might not look like it, but hey, you got to make a living somehow. The shock comes from how shocking our world is right now. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why everybody's beating around the bush. Is that an algorithm thing? Here, I want to see what the newest comments say. Imagine only coming to this point in 2026. The privilege, just an ostrich with its head in the sand, blaming the availability of information for making him uncomfortable instead of responsibility to reality. Yeah, so this guy has a point. You are right. We are determined to do bad things. Tread lightly. This guy watched Breaking Bad or something. Money, corporations, governments, institutions have fallen prey to debauchery. This is a vague take, but true. I think this has been happening all throughout history. Too many people wearing black, driving black, inking their skin, piercing their bodies. Let's go to top comments again and read more of these. I'm interested to just see what people think. My husband and I feel exactly like you do. We miss integrity, decency, basic moral behaviors. You're right. And it isn't too bad. We're empaths, and the world hurts our souls. People are behaving exactly as expected inside systems that reward fear, speed, and outrage while removing agency and rest. This is refreshing to me. I'll be honest. I'm glad that I'm reacting to this video. It's somewhat healing. It feels somewhat better. It's healing to just connect with all of these people who are speaking about this as well. You're not alone, brother. I feel like the world is draining my psychic battery. It's like people have been overcome by a malevolent psychic energy. Well, the bad thing is that perhaps evil people, mentally problematic people, are outnumbering us. I wouldn't say so. They're not outnumbering us. They're out out money us. They're out wealthy us. I'm here with you 150%. I feel surrounded. That's why spirituality is good. I can talk more about spirituality, but again, I'm low on dopamine, so it's hard for me to do things. If you want me to do things that might help you guys, you have interact with me. They say not to live in the past or the future and live in the present, but the present is pretty terrifying too. Lol. Same in the UK. Three of my neighbors have stopped sending me Christmas cards. Oh, it is very tough losing lifelong friends. Being older, most of my close friends have passed away. It sucks losing family. Yeah. Mm. My anxiety has been off the charts the last few weeks. Scary times we are living in. Crying face. Okay, like everybody is equally vague about this. Like, what the hell? It's never been like this. Something is just not right. We can all feel it. Yes, sir, everything has gone very strange. I feel so alone. Nobody is the same. It's all true, but nobody is like making a solution. Everybody is just complaining. This is something that I find uh, I mean, I guess it's a good thing that people at least are voicing their opinions, but he's been talking about the echo chambers. This is somewhat of an echo chamber too. If you're just saying it, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing actually. But what you need to continue that is that how do we go about that, right? So okay, there's a lack of spirituality. What do we do? And the answer is we have to reconnect with our spirituality. I've been trying to do that since years now, and I've been successful in many ways. Meditation and stuff like that really takes you to the deeper level of reality. And once you see something like that, you can never unsee it. You know, um, I don't want to keep talking too much. I feel like I'm getting also tired. So I'm low on dopamine. I'm doing my best. So I don't know what to say besides stay strong and don't budge.